there, and happy Friday. Yay! I want to spend just a few minutes talking to you today about is your brain running slash ruining your life, or are you running your life? What do I mean by that? Our brain is a little bit lazy. Like it likes to go to the same places it always went to before to save time and effort. And so if you have a bad experience, in one way, any way, shape, or form, and something similar happens, your brain will go right back to whatever reaction or thoughts you had back then. And that could have happened when you were a child and your brain was in a totally different developmental stage than now in your 20s or 30s or 50s. And yet it still will go back to that same place. And if you have something occurring frequently, like a relationship that you're having challenges with, be it a coworker, a friend, a partner, a child, a parent, those bad experiences, like the second you start to have a conversation, instead of being focused on this conversation, your brain's already going, see, this always happens. They always say that, those kinds of things. And when you go down that path, the conversation is no longer productive. Like there's not a way to get to a better solution when your thoughts are going in that direction. But we don't realize that we're doing that. And so it seems normal. It seems like that's just our thought patterns, and that's why we have sometimes with certain people the same arguments over and over again, and they're painful, and we walk away feeling terrible, and they walk away feeling terrible, and in that then we go talk to other people about it, which just makes us feel worse, and then they tell their stories of negativity with some other person in some other relationship, and we just keep attracting more of that negativity, and that negativity makes the cells in our bodies not function as well. It makes us have illnesses. We create a lot of the stress that we have in our lives because we don't understand that we can choose different thoughts, that we are doing these pattern things, not knowing that we could do it differently. And then we're making ourselves sick. We're carrying a lot of stress around that we don't know how to deal with, or that we don't think is changeable. And it's affecting our body's ability to function well and heal and respond. And so it's such an important thing to realize, is that we can actually have a lot more control and a lot more choice. The other thing to bring to that perspective when we're having challenges is every single person brings into any conversation or event or anything all of their experiences, their individual experiences from the time they were born up until whatever the age they are. That's why no two of us are alike, not even in the same families, not even twins, because twins aren't together 24/7, and they don't have the exact same personalities or filters in their brain. And so two people can experience, or five people or 10 people can experience the exact same event and circumstances. And because they each have their own perspective from the childhood up, they saw it differently. And that's why a lot of times when we say somebody's lying, not that there aren't sometimes when someone purposely changes the story. There is. But there's also a lot of times that if there's five people in an experience, in an event, and they each tell the truth the way they saw it, none of it is exactly the same. That's why you end up with courts and juries and judges trying to figure out what the truth really is. Between some people who change the story and the fact that even when people are telling it to the very best of their ability to be honest, their story is a little bit different than the next person telling it every bit the best they can, trying to be honest. And then there's the fact that all of our brains also will make up things to make things logical, and we don't recognize that that's happening. It's crazy when you start to actually catch it and realize it. I noticed it like when you would be talking to, say, a client about a situation with their pet, and their pet, obviously can't talk to them about what's going on. And the client reasons out why the pet is doing whatever it's doing medically. And their logic from a medical standpoint of view is absolutely makes no sense. But they don't know that. That's logical for their brain. Well, as I started to see that, I started to also see that we do that sometimes. Like if something happens and somebody doesn't call you back, we, a lot of times we'll take it personally. And then we'll reason out, well, he's mad at me, or he thought I said this, or he thought, and we've made this whole story up, convinced of ourselves of it's true without realizing that that's what's happened. We're believing it. Like we're mad at them and they don't have a clue what's going on. And it is very likely, in fact, 99% of the time, has nothing to do with what actually transpired. It's just us trying to figure it out and reason it out and actually making up a story. And sometimes it goes further than that. You tell yourself that long enough that you tell it to somebody else as if it's a truth about someone else, and you don't know, and actually it isn't. And so all of those things play factors into making relationships so much more complicated. And so the other part of that is when we speak negatively about ourselves or we speak negatively about others, that also that disconnects us from God, source energy, love, which is everything. And so that also attracts negativity. And so if we start to really, one, stop and think, is that really true? Do I know that's true? Did somebody just tell me that and they didn't actually witness it? If it feels like it's gossip, then it probably shouldn't be repeated. Really, if we try to speak only of the positive things, the compliments, the things we know are true about others, and stay in that space as much as possible, it will change your own life, because what you will attract into the space, and you'll attract the best in others. Because most people, I mean, everybody has good parts. There are some people that are so disconnected because of pain and things that have happened from early in life that they may not be people that it's wise for you to spend time around, because they could be very negative for you. But you can release them and just wish them the best. But most of the time, you can find good things to focus on in people. And when you've difficult relationships, when you look for the best parts of them, whatever that is, over and over, and you practice doing it ahead of the next conversation with them, you'll start to attract the better part of them to the relationship with you, whether that's a work relationship, whatever it is. And your experiences and the way your life goes gets better. And when you start to choose your thoughts, because when our thoughts go down, well, the world is just a terrible place, and we're not focusing on looking for the best parts of things, we're not lined up with God, love, source energy, because God is love in the biggest form. God, universe, whatever word it is for that, is love, absolute love, not hate, not disrespect, not not seeing the world as a terrible place to be, not seeing every new thing. This world has so much to offer us. And when we look for the good and choose the better thoughts and choose the kinder thoughts and choose to see the beauty around us and appreciate everything possible in others, in ourselves, really, really important to learn to be kind. Speak kindly to yourself just the way you want to speak kindly to and around and about others. It will change your life. You can control your thoughts, and choose better thoughts is a better word than control. When you feel that doesn't feel good, if a thought or a conversation doesn't feel good, that's not one you should continue. There's something there that's disconnecting you, and your connection matters. How you feel matters. If you're standing in a group of people and they're speaking negatively of others, even if you don't say a word, if you're in that group and you're still there, you are part of it. And you will feel it. You will walk away feeling drained, feeling negative. There are people that you can have a conversation with on the phone or in person, and you're exhausted. You didn't even say that much. If there's a lot of negativity coming at you and you try to say something positive and it comes back negative, well, we get to choose if we continue to participate in those things. And I found that when you love somebody and they have a tendency towards that, you can choose to say, I love you, I've got to go, I'll talk to you later, when the conversation is beginning to be talking negatively about anybody, whether they're talking negatively about you, someone you care about, anybody. And if they love you and they want to continue that relationship with you, there's a point where they'll recognize that you're not the person to speak It doesn't mean they don't gossip to other people. It doesn't change them, but it changes the part of them that you get to see and interact with. And sometimes over time, it will change them because they'll start to recognize subconsciously that they feel better after conversations with you. But it only works. You can't tell them, look, I need you not be negative, because that you can't change another person. You tell them because you go, I love you, I've got to go by, when the conversation is a conversation that you know isn't good for you to participate in. And if it's somebody who isn't used to that, they may not appreciate that at first. So you prepare yourself for that. You look for relationships with people who care about others and want to talk positively, who are looking, the most fun relationships are when you're talking about fun things that you're going to do or they're going to do or you're doing as a group. You know, what new adventures or what new experiences or what are you going to learn? And you can have friends of all different ages that you have those kinds of vibrant, joyful conversations with. And we don't realize we get to choose. We think we have to listen to that person on the phone, that when we hang up the phone, we're exhausted and we feel terrible. Do you know what that's doing to your body? When you feel that way, do you know what that's doing to the cells in your body? If you really knew that, it might give you the power to start choosing differently. And how you feel every day when you choose to have positive relationships and look for positive people and reach for positive thoughts and experiences is absolute magic. And you can create your own extraordinary life by doing so. When you see people you love, like you're caring for people, you know, many of us, I've been through it, but there are plenty of people my age still in it and coming into it, caring for their elderly parents. And it can be exhausting and it can take you down. And so you've got to nurture yourself. You've got to have positive friends that you find time for and conversations. And you need to do good, kind things for yourself so that you can stay in that loving place and not let that you have nothing to give if you don't receive. So make sure you receive love from the people around you, love from nurturing friendships, love from yourself by being kind to yourself. Because you can live an extraordinary life in the middle of all the challenges. But it's how we think and the choices and what we choose to think and how we learn to show up for ourselves that make that difference. So, hey, it's Friday. This is a perfect time to make sure you build in some self-care and some awareness and maybe time for an appreciation journal so that you can appreciate yourself and start recognizing when your thoughts are going in a way that aren't serving you, because you're definitely worthy of it. So have an extraordinary weekend. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.